$3.81 a gallon. Remember the last time you paid that for a gallon of unleaded glass? Try September 2008. Back then, we were heading into something pretty bad. Signs after 22 days straight of this now, we could be heading into something worse. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and now we know you pay more at the pump. Shoppers slump. The first real proof today. Retail sales showing their weakest rise in 9 months. A new poll finding 68% of Americans are now holding back. Enter the President of the United States today, promising taxes should go up, at least on the higher income. Something the Cato Institute's Dan Mitchell says will be disastrous, way beyond the higher income. Well, it is a case, I guess, of bad timing, Dan.
We already have a weak economy. The key thing to look at isn't what's happening with personal consumption, it's what's happening with personal income, because in the long run, that governs all the things we care about: consumption, savings, etc. And we have a weak recovery. We're not recovering the lost economic output like with past recessions. And now Obama's coming in, not only proposing higher taxes on small business owners, investors, and entrepreneurs, but then he also wants this automatic tax hike trigger. So the politicians get rewarded when they overspend by getting a tax increase from us that they don't even have to vote on.
You know what I didn't understand about this tax hike trigger, and my producer was trying to explain it to me, there is no commensurate spending cut trigger. I mean, it's all, if you're not meeting the numbers, it's taxes that go up, not spending that is cut.
Oh, no, there's also a provision that would, it's a debt fail-safe trigger, and part of it supposedly would apply to spending. But think about it, if you're a politician and you know that you're already over the limit, you increase $1 of spending, and what happens is you get 50 cents of tax increases, and then you get to keep 50 cents of the additional spending. So it's sort of like me and you having a deal where every time I do something wrong, you give me more money. That's great for me. It's not so good for you.
I'm just wondering, though, getting into the debate late, as some of his critics have charged, and offering solutions, at least, for example, on the tax thing that we thought were repudiated last fall, and a concession the president made to extend the Bush tax rates for everybody back before Christmas time. I thought that was at least settled. What is the president saying? That it's not, and this is going to be his holy grail all over again? What?
I think Obama's in a tough position. He was embarrassed because everyone said he was AWOL on the budget fight, especially after Congressman Paul Ryan put forth a detailed plan. And so Obama, in effect, had no choice but to come out with something. Now, he hasn't given us a real budget. It's just a set of talking points. But he, in effect, took the Fiscal Commission proposal from last year, which had lots of tax increases, and then he moved it even farther to the left. But this wasn't really a budget speech. This was a 2012 election speech. That's why he was waving the bloody flag of class warfare. He's hoping that if he can make everyone demonize the rich, he can somehow convince the middle class not to pay attention to the higher taxes and bigger burden of government that they're facing.
But you know, Dan, I don't care whether you're the right or left on this issue. When you hike taxes, that in itself is a higher price, per se. It is an inflationary development. So that, coupled with what we know will be higher prices across the board, going way beyond gas. We've seen it in everything from, grains, wheat, barley, bread that have gone up double-digit, to a host of just precious metals that have gone up, in some cases, triple-digit. Not a good timing-wise issue, right?
I worry that we may be on the cusp of another 1970s lost decade of stagflation. Now, I know there are people out there who say that QE2 is okay and there's not really any signs of inflation, but all the things you just mentioned, plus the falling value of the dollar in international exchange markets, I'm more in the camp of thinking that inflation is something we should worry about. So we're getting the toxic combination of inflation, higher taxes, more government spending, more regulation. Of course, this is a recipe for economic stagnation, and that's why we have a very weak, subpar recovery. Normally, when you have a recession, that's bad news, but you bounce back and you jump above the trend line before you settle back in at that 3% growth. We haven't had the bounce back. We're struggling just to get back to 3%, and we're not even there.
All right, Dan Mitchell, thank you very much. Good seeing you again.
Thank you.